Two babies were switched by accident at birth. It wasn't until 16 years later that both parents found their real children, but they don't want to lose their adopted children either. Therefore, they arrange a marriage for the two teenagers. The male protagonist Nagi is popular among girls. In addition to his fiancée arranged by his parents, he has two more harems, even more exaggerated. One of them is his sister, who is not related to him by blood though. Which girl will Nagi choose in the end? Give this video a like, and let's find it out together. The male protagonist Nagi was originally a child of a rich family, but because he was switched with a girl by mistake at birth, he was raised up in an ordinary family. Despite this, he grows up to have excellent grades and is also very good at housework. His sister Sachi likes him very much, and when she learns her mistaken brother will leave at any moment, she is very sad. Seeing this, Nagi promises never to leave them. One day, Nagi meets a very beautiful girl, Erika, standing on the railing of the flyover. He mistakenly thinks she is going to end her life, immediately rushing over to take her down but touches the softest part of her by accident. To his surprise, Erika was just filming a video of her pretending to end her life. She is 16 years old and a very popular internet celebrity. Because her parents want her to marry someone she doesn't know, she planned to use the video to make things go viral, thus urging her parents to discourage her from getting married. This reminds Nagi of the fact that he was switched in the hospital when he was a baby. It seems they are in a very similar situation as they are both worried about family issues. As they chat, Erika learns that Nagi attends a key high school and has excellent grades, which makes him a very ideal mate. Therefore, she decides to pretend to be a couple with him and rebel against the engagement made by her parents. However, Nagi does not think it's gonna work and rejects her offer. Erika is unwilling to give up. She takes out the video she has just taken, threatening him with a clip of Nagi touching her intimate part. In order not to expose the video, Nagi can only grant her request, because none of them has ever been in a relationship. Erika searches the internet for things couples would do. Nagi, fearing that Erika is deceiving him, asks to see the search results, while Erika refuses to give him her phone. In the scramble, she accidentally turns on the camera and takes a photo of them. Nagi offers to use the photo as evidence of their relationship, and Erika can send it to her parents. But Erika, wanting them both to look perfect, rejects him, and proposes to buy couple outfits. She's from a wealthy family, so without concern about the price, she buys a pair of fashionable couple outfits. With the outfits on, they take a lot of photos, but none of them looks natural. Erika believes a good photo conveys the sense of the air of the moment, and after selecting, she sends their first photo to her father. Unexpectedly, her lie is immediately exposed. As Erika ponders what to do next, a group of bad boys come to them. They are like stalkers, spotting Erika's location according to the information posted by her on the internet. As they try to provoke, Nagi shows his fighting skills, knocking out their boss with just one punch and warning them not to approach Erika again. Erika sees the fight scene for the first time and is fascinated by Nagi's handsome deed. She decides to be like Nagi, using her force to drive away her fiancé. Before parting, Erika says to Nagi, "If only you were my fiancé." Although she soon explains that she was just joking, Nagi still blushes. Right now, none of them expects that Erika's joke would become a reality. When Nagi meets his biological parents, he is told that he and Erika will get married. Erika is surprised that her fiancé turns out to be Nagi, but she still attacks him as she promised. Despite this, they are officially announced to be fiancés. But Nagi has always had a crush on a female classmate named Hiro, whose grades ranks first while Nagi's ranks second. Since Hiro's ideal type is someone smarter than her, Nagi planned to confess his feelings to her when he gets first place. However, his arranged marriage with Erika interfered with his plan. Therefore, he must advance it and sabotage the marriage, taking the chance of Hiro bumping into him on the first day of the new semester. Nagi challenges her, vowing to beat her in the next exam. While Nagi studies hard for the exam, he suddenly receives the news that Erika is coming to visit. His parents are busy running the restaurant, thus giving Nagi the task of hosting her. Erika is used to living in a mansion and has never seen a normal-size apartment, where there isn't a chair, and she sits down directly on the locker. Not until Nagi reminds her that she can sit on the floor does she realize she was sitting in the wrong place. Even more exaggerated, Erika mistakenly thinks it is just a warehouse and urges Nagi to show her around the house as soon as possible. This shocks Nagi so much that he can only repeatedly explain that this is the entire apartment his family live in. Looking around, Erika is surprised to see Nagi and Sachi's rooms separated by only a curtain. Sympathized with Nagi's accommodation, Erika decides to take him to her home. Walking around her mansion, Nagi is surprised to find that even the pet's room is larger than his apartment. He deeply feels the gap between the two families, more sure of canceling the improperly arranged marriage since people from different worlds aren't meant to be a couple. Erika thinks the same, and her intention of visiting was to have a talk with her birth parents. Knowing that they'll stay in the restaurant, they run till late at night. Erika decides to go to the restaurant to find them. In Nagi's eyes, Erika should be a proud and spoiled princess, and she might start a fierce dispute with his parents to rebel against the marriage arrangement. To his surprise, Erika chooses to run away. Nagi catches up with Erika and asks her why she left halfway. Breaking down emotionally, Erika can't help but shed tears. It turns out that she was just worried that she would cause them trouble, and did not know how to respond to their warmness. Nagi comforts her, asking her to relax, because his parents are really nice to get along with. Under Nagi's persuasion, Erika returns to the restaurant, and the family have a very pleasant dinner. After dinner, Erika's father takes them to a big house, which is announced to be the place they'll live together for 2 weeks. It turns out that the father has long known that they are not in a relationship, but he believes they are brought together, and cohabitation may help them grow feelings for each other. However, Nagi and Erika never want to marry each other, and they thus make a cohabitation rule of non-interference. To Nagi's delight, his room is so spacious that he no longer has to share a room with Sachi and can concentrate on preparing for the exam. He then develops a series of study plans, but with nobody disturbing him. He doesn't wake up until 10 o'clock the next morning. Just then, he hears Erika screaming in the bathroom, rushing to check. It turns out Erika saw a gecko when taking a shower. She wants Nagi to deal with it, but as Nagi rushes in, he is taken aback by the gecko, leaving with no other choice. Erika can only grab the gecko herself and throw it out the window. Later, when Nagi is studying with his phone, it suddenly goes powered off. Therefore, he goes to borrow a charger and study materials from Erika, who agrees to lend hers on the condition that Nagi helps her take pictures. Unexpectedly, Nagi sees her intimate part during filming. While being questioned by Erika, he's overstressed and accidentally falls on her. Erika kicks him hard, asking him to retake the photo, because she is very strict with her photos. Nagi never reaches her standards. In order to finish the shoot as soon as possible, Nagi sprays water on Erika and took the opportunity to capture a very stunning photo. However, Erika likes the photo so much that she wants Nagi to take more, but gets rejected. She then sprays water on him, causing a water spraying battle, which lasts till darkness falls. Erika wonders why Nagi loves studying so much. Nagi explains that he wants to make his parents' lives easier, and asks Erika why she wants to become an influencer. It turns out that Erika wants to use the internet to find a person. As long as she becomes famous, that person can see her. To thank Erika for her lending him stuff, Nagi prepares dinner for her, only to find his school supplies have been sent here by his sister long time ago. Thinking that he has wasted a whole day, he feels very devastated. The next day at school, Nagi receives a letter from Hiro in the locker, asking him to meet her on the rooftop after school. Even stranger, while he is checking the letter, Hiro is hiding in a corner to peek at him. Hiro is very popular at school, and they didn't have much contact, so Nagi is confused about why she did it. He then receives a transcript of the last exam, learning that he has ranked the first. He guesses that Hiro already knows the test results, and coupled with her peeking at him, he suspects that she will confess her feelings to him. After school, Hiro tells Nagi what she really thinks, because she didn't take the exam last time. Nagi became number 1. She is so competitive that she swears never to lose to Nagi again. Nagi is captivated by her once again, determined to surpass her. Unfortunately, Nagi falls ill the day before the exam. Erika deliberately changes into a nurse's costume to roleplay, while Nagi has seen through her purpose and drives her away. He wants to concentrate on his studies, but faints from a fever. Hearing the noise, Erika hurries to check on Nagi. Eventually, under the care of Erika, Nagi gradually regains his health. Although it's a good thing to study hard, Nagi should also spare some attention to his health. Erika tells him, touched by the words. Nagi feels that Erika is like his family. After the mock test, Nagi takes first place as he wishes. He then plucks up the courage to confess to Hiro, who however rejects him, because they have gone through 12 exams so far, and Nagi has only beaten her once without counting the one she did not attend, so obviously she is still the smarter one. Hearing this, Nagi refuses to give up, vowing to overtake her 10 more times. But Hiro is also confident in herself, believing that no matter what she does, she will never lose to Nagi. During the argument, they decide to compete to see who can go downstairs to get the bag first. Although Nagi wins eventually, Hiro's attitude does not change. She tells Nagi that she has an engagement and is unlikely to accept him. When Nagi returns to the big house, he is told that the cohabitation is over. He happily packs up his things and returns home as soon as possible, only to be told that the apartment is under repair, and the family is now staying in a small rental accommodation, where there's no space for Nagi. Leaving with no other choice, he returns to the house, only to find Erika, who is trying to live independently, remains here. Hence, they become roommates again. One day, Sachi comes to visit in order to get close to her sister Erika. Nagi also wants the sisters to get acquainted as soon as possible, proposing that they prepare a meal together. However, Erika is very bad at cooking, causing only problems for Nagi. As for Sachi, She is too nervous to speak to Erika. In the end, Nagi finishes the chicken nuggets on his own. During the meal, he finds that the sisters eat in exactly the same way. With his reminder, Erika also realizes their similarity, and suddenly feels close to Sachi. Learning that Sachi has few clothes, she offers to give some to her. The scene then cuts to the school library, where Nagi meets Hiro again. After knowing that Nagi would come to the library every day to study, Hiro is here to ask him for some learning methods. Seeing Hiro try learning about his whereabouts, Nagi mistakenly believes that Hiro likes him and is indicating him to snatch her from her fiancé. Moreover, as they study together, they unexpectedly discover that they both enjoy collecting seals, which makes Hiro happy, and she proposes to study together every morning. With these factors, Nagi is more sure that he and Hiro are a good match. He believes that they will get through the difficulties and become a real couple. Back to class, Nagi is surprised to see Erika as a transfer student. It turns out she accidentally posted the picture of her and Nagi on social media. Although she quickly deleted it, someone saved the photo and reported it to the head teacher, who required Erika to come to his office to talk about the issue. However, on the appointed day, Erika got sick and missed the time, thus being kicked out of the school. At her father's suggestion, she transferred to Nagi's school. The first friend Erika met at her new school is Hiro, who warmly shows Erika around the campus. Since Nagi confessed to Hiro without telling her about his engagement, he is worried that Erika would know about it and thus stalks them secretly. After school, Nagi happens to see Hiro crying. Worried that Erika has done something bad, he immediately explains that Erika is a good person and there must be some misunderstandings. To his surprise, Hiro is actually a fan of Erika, and since she had a very pleasant day with Erika, she can't help shedding tears of happiness. Knowing that Erika is not keeping up with their classes, Hiro suggests that Erika join her and Nagi to study together every morning, so that they can help with Erika's studies. After returning home, Nagi tells Erika about him being rejected by Hiro, but he hides Hiro's engagement, only revealing that he wants to surpass Hiro 10 times in a row. Erika mistakes Hiro for trying to test Nagi and decides to help him win Hiro's favor. In the morning study gathering that followed, Erika deliberately puts on Cupid's cosplay costume, which Hiro considers to be cute and she doesn't overthink. But when Erika knows more about Hiro, she discovers that Hiro is far better than Nagi. She thinks they are not suitable and suggests Nagi give up sooner rather than later. Seeing Nagi and Erika being close, Hiro feels envious. In order to get close to Erika, she asks if she can go visit Erika's home. Erika doesn't want to reveal her cohabitation with Nagi, so she brings Hiro to her parents' house. Meanwhile, Nagi, having the opportunity to be alone, feels so relaxed that he takes off his clothes as soon as he gets home. Just then, Erika returns with Hiro. It turns out that her nanny mentioned about the place she lives in now, so she can only bring Hiro here. Nagi hurriedly puts on his shirt and sorts out his personal belongings. Then, a group of bad boys break into the house. Worried that the girls will be frightened, Nagi immediately chases the bad boys away. With his effort, Hiro doesn't notice anything abnormal, and she again has a good time with Erika. A few days later, Hiro invites Nagi and Erika to study at her home. Her parents run a large shrine, where Hiro serves as a miko. During then, Hiro has a conversation with Nagi alone. It turns out that her engagement wasn't the reason for her rejecting Nagi. She is working as a miko, which requires her to dedicate both her body and heart to the god during her reign. Therefore, she cannot fall in love with Nagi. Hiro trusts Nagi, hoping that he can help her with her troubles. This makes Nagi realize his importance to Hiro and he wants to learn more about her. Coincidentally, the school organizes an excursion that provides Nagi with a chance to team up with Hiro. Erika doesn't sign up for it to leave the space for them. That day after school, Nagi once again confirms to Hiro the conditions of accepting him. And this time, Hiro doesn't reject Nagi like before. She reveals that since she was born, her life has been arranged by her parents. But now, she hopes that Nagi will try to change her fate. Encouraged by this, Nagi decides to redouble his efforts to become a better person. His happiness doesn't last long because when he gets home, Erika tells Nagi the bad news. One of their classmates named Cheyenne, an avid fan of Erika, has discovered them studying together every morning. Mistaking Erika for going on the field trip with Nagi and Hiro, he forcibly joins their group. In order to stop Cheyenne from interfering with Nagi and Hiro, Erika decides to go for the trip. Cheyenne loves Erika very much, but he also notices that Nagi and Erika are close, so he specifically asks for Nagi's opinion before embarking on his pursuit. Nagi expresses his support for Cheyenne, but he couldn't help keeping an eye on Erika and Cheyenne for the rest of his journey. Even when he is with Hiro, he can't concentrate. Before the trip ends, Erika intends to take a set of photos by the sea. Nagi is in charge of the photography, but Erika is not satisfied with the photos he took. She wants to present friendship in the photos, while Hiro is nowhere to find, leaving her without a friend to photograph with. As she tries to snatch the phone to delete the photos Nagi took, they accidentally take a selfie, in which Erika thinks she looks quite good. It's a pity that since Nagi is also in the photo, she can't post them on social media. Just then, Nagi recalls what Erika once said she was using the internet to find someone, but when he asks Erika about it, she tells him that if he knows the truth, his fate may change. After the trip, Sachi moves into their home. She tells Erika it's because she doesn't want to be separated from her brother. Nagi overhears their conversation. In his memory, Sachi has always liked him since they were children, and they are very close to each other. He understands how Sachi feels, immediately calling his parents to inform them that Sachi will live with him for a while. When Erika and Sachi go out shopping together, many passers-by recognize Erika. To protect his sister and fiancé, Nagi hurriedly catches up with them. Sachi has been around Erika since she moved in, so Nagi hardly has a chance to talk to Erika. Not until Sachi falls asleep does he find an opportunity to be alone with Erika. However, Nagi steps back as he suddenly remembers Erika once told him that knowing the truth will change his life. Therefore, he decides to question about it when he is ready. Soon after, Nagi receives a date request from Hiro, and they come to the amusement park. Although Nagi isn't into some exciting rides, his affection for Hiro drives him to do everything for her. When Nagi returns home, his father shows up, asking him to fish at sea, along with Erika and Sachi. Nagi suffers from seasickness and has not liked fishing since he was a child, but his father always forcibly takes him out fishing. He doesn't want to participate in fishing anymore, thus deciding to defeat his father in a fishing tournament. Unfortunately, he overestimates his strength and eventually loses to his father. On the way back, Nagi recalls what his father has told him, that fishing would help him forget his troubles, and his father used to take him out fishing when he was thinking about important things. Though years have passed by, his father's care for him never changes. Nagi realizes how fishing brings he and his father close, agreeing to come again next time. Mother's Day is approaching, so Nagi and Sachi come to the mall to buy gifts for their mother. It's the first time Nagi has ever been out with Sachi since he spent all his time studying before. Sachi looks cute, and as they don't look alike, others treat them as a couple. Unfortunately, they walk around the mall and still can't find the right gift. During the break, Sachi suddenly remembers that they have painted a portrait of their mother wearing aprons, so she proposes to buy an apron. Nagi compliments Sachi and is glad she is his sister, but unbeknownst to him, Sachi never wants him to treat her like a sister. Then, they secretly put the gift in front of their parents' residence. Meanwhile, Erika is dining with her mother at a fine restaurant. Her mother asks her what she thinks of Nagi and Sachi. Without thinking much, Erika answers that they are a good match and should be arranged for marriage. Knowing this from his wife, Erika's father decides to have a talk with his daughter as well, but Erika doesn't want to see her father, thus forcibly taking Nagi out before her father comes over. Erika knows her father is trying to take her home, reluctant to accept his arrangement. Just then, she realizes she forgot to bring her phone and wallet, so she can't stay outside for long. Nagi understands her trouble and respects her ideas. Hence, he takes her to the river, giving her the experience of how the poor relax. Elsewhere, as Erika's father didn't see his daughter in the house, he has a conversation with Sachi, wondering if Nagi and Erika are fit to get married. Sachi thinks their personalities are very different, which however, make them a matched couple. After the conversation, Erika's father gives her a gift in the hope that she will continue to share information with him. In the following story, Nagi and Erika's home goes out of power due to the thunder, which reminds Erika the story of an alien attack on Earth, and she feels very scared. As Nagi tries to get his phone, Erika follows him because she doesn't want to be alone. Unfortunately, Nagi's phone runs out of battery, while Erika's phone also shuts down. In this case, they can only light spare candles at home, while waiting for the power to be restored. Erika speaks her true mind. Recently, she has experienced a lot of things that she could never imagine at home and is indeed happy every day. Then, she suddenly remembers that there are emergency tools in the cabinet at the entrance, asking Nagi to get them. Walking alone to the entrance, Nagi bumps into Sachi, who has just returned home, and he accidentally kisses her on the lips. He thought it was Erika who followed. Not until the electricity is restored does he realize he just kissed Sachi. Nagi regards it as a mistake, asking Sachi to forget about it. However, Sachi, who deeply loves Nagi, can't forget about it at all. Seeing his careless attitude, Sachi is so upset that she decides to stop talking to him. When studying with Hiro the next morning, Nagi tells her about his troubles. He has always been addicted to studying, always unable to understand the thoughts of others, and even hurt their feelings because of it. Hiro finds him a straightforward person, which is not a bad thing. She encourages him to be brave and speak his mind. After returning home, Nagi apologizes to Sachi, vows to respect her and treats her as a woman. Hearing his sincere apology, Sachi forgives him and they reconcile. Before the midterm exams, Nagi takes the initiative to invite Hiro for a date in Tokyo Library, without considering the rule of keeping quiet in libraries. Therefore, they can only chat by passing notes. After the library closes, Hiro takes him to the kickboxing club. It turns out she has been learning kickboxing recently, and wants Nagi to accompany her in practice. Nagi also becomes interested in kickboxing and they have a very pleasant day. Just then, Erika, who is passing by, sees them being together. Erika somehow gets jealous and forcibly asks Nagi to have a date with her. She buys a new outfit for Nagi and takes him to the reptile club, where they spend some time together, and then they go running. Nagi is extremely exhausted after all this, wondering why Erika suddenly wants to date him. Erika reveals how she saw him and Hiro at the kickboxing club. Although she supports them becoming a couple, when she saw them together, she suddenly realized how special Nagi is to her. Hearing this, Nagi asks if she has a crush on him, while Erika refuses to admit it, insisting that the feeling is an affection. Her words put Nagi in a conflict. When he thinks of Erika, he finds that his heart beats so fast that he begins to wonder if he still likes Hiro. To figure out what love means, Nagi goes to his parents' place to check their love letters. He happens to see his father, who then tells him that his mother was popular at school. In order to gain her favor, he wrote countless love letters. Nagi didn't expect that being obsessed with someone could bring so much power, and becomes more and more doubtful whether it is Hiro who he likes. His father sees through Nagi's confusion, suggesting that he close his eyes and try to imagine who he really likes. To his surprise, Nagi sees 3 girls at the same time. In the end, Nagi still doesn't figure out the one he likes. Anyway, he decides to send a text to Erika, saying, "I'm not falling for you yet." The relationships in A Couple of Cuckoos are complicated, including babies switching, the taboo love between siblings, and so on. The plot of babies switching is rarely seen in mangas, but luckily this one presents it well, and each character has their unique personalities. But honestly, compared to the complicated connections between Nagi, Hiro and Erika, I prefer the story between Sachi and Nagi. I look forward to their follow-up story. If you like this anime, leave a comment below so I'll know if I should recap the next season. Also, if you are into this kind of romantic anime, feel free to comment your favorite one below and I'll pick some to do the recapping. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and I'll see you in my next video.